radiant wellness and soul-forward living. Join your host, Jess Juntinen, quantum healer, intuitive, and midwife to the awakening spirit, as we dive into quantum tools, wisdom teachings, and integrated healing pathways for transformation. You can live a life of freedom to be without limitation. Cozy up, grab your tea, and enjoy this hour of expansion, wisdom, and love. Welcome, hello, and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess Juntinen, your grateful host to be with you this Tuesday afternoon. We say noon Eastern. Sometimes I'm here a little after that fact, so thank you for hanging in there. And totally in love with this moment and this day. Honestly, I am here. I am ready. I'm open. Guide me. Let's have an incredible hour together and dive into living the yoga of self-ascension and really what's alive inside of me right now is that the yoga of self-ascension is the foundation of every other thing that I do and that I am. And it is the foundation of Avesa International. It is the foundation of everything that is created through Sri and Kira and the ministry and the temple of self-ascension, TOSA, the temple of self-ascension, that really we are this bona fide 20 plus year ministry, 501c3, as legit as it comes, and that Sri and Kira are very seriously, you know, ordained. I mean, they took that very seriously, and so did I myself as a minister of self-ascension. And it's like, hey, it is time to really come forward with the driving force behind everything is the yoga of self-ascension. And it is what we teach and it is what we do, and it is the guidepost to surfing these wild, incredible times. These times that we are in are requiring us to lean into every tool, every strategy that we have, productive or non-productive, all right? I mean, we all have a whole huge toolkit of things that we use to cope, to get by, and those are great. I mean, there is no judgment. However, when I apply the yoga of self-ascension to what I'm walking through, I find that things go in an incredible flow and shift and open up, and miracles and magic can actually really happen quickly, and it gets to be a lot of fun, and we have so many incredible teachings and tools and understandings that it just continually gets deeper. And I think the best thing about it is that it's not dogmatic, it's not a religion at all. It is actually an honoring that all paths to the divine are legitimate. They all are a path, right? Archangel Zadkiel says that there are as many paths to the divine as there are beings on the planet. And right now, the beings on this planet are all over the place, believe me, right? You know it. And oh, it just makes me I have a graphic I'm gonna pull up in a bit I was thinking about. So, it is the yoga of self-ascension. I love talking about it. I love diving into it. Many of you that are here, I know, are regular listeners at my show and at other shows on Oneness and with Sri and Kira. So a lot of you do know what the yoga of self-ascension is. A lot of you have been studying it and been on this path. And then there are those of you that are just dropping in or just hearing about it. So I really hope to have a, dynamic hour here where you can get some insight or questions answered while not feeling, either like it's too elementary if you've been on this path. But I think the elementary basics are the most important. Sometimes we think, oh, I know that. I've been there, I've done that. And really, really the basics are actually so deep. And I mean, I'm just in awe. This is my copy of Sacred Union, The Journey Home, the original one I bought whatever it was, 10 years ago. I now actually own one of the original prints. I was going to look for it, but I don't see it offhand. But I mean, it's got all my notes and things, highlights in it. It's constant constantly giving, and this was the very first book that started all the other books that Sri and Kira wrote, and it really outlines the path of self-ascension. And we are up leveling this information, but the core of it is always the same and never changing. And it really is this most beautiful story of, right, they're coming together, but it's woven with the pathway of self-ascension. So I think we are in such a grand moment of the sacred union. The sacred union, right? Shri and Kira, yes, are a sacred union couple, but some of us think, oh my gosh, I have to have a couple to be in sacred union. That's one of the 4 steps of self-ascension, is sacred union. And no, not at all. It's to come into sacred union with yourself. And then it's really great when you come together with a sacred union partner, if that is what you are desiring in your life. But the 4 steps of self-ascension that are not in any particular order, but you're always cycling through, are surrender, release judgment, unconditional love, and to, say, be in sacred union. Those are the 4. And August is a sacred union month, if there was ever a month for it. August is here with the energy of the 6 in a year that is a 6 year to 2022, right? 6. That's the number of the sacred union. That's the points of a Merkaba, a star, right? That's the portal. It's the 2 triangles that come together into the one. That's the sacred union. And that is the moment that we are in, is asking us to come home to ourselves. So living the yoga of self-ascension, how do we bring that sacred union into our experience of life here? I love the practicality of this path, because so many of us on a path of evolving our consciousness and seeking to up level really get caught up in an ideal of, I'm going to be living in this multidimensional space. I'm going to be in the 5th dimension, and I don't want to do the things here. I don't want to do the things here. I don't want to have to pay my bills. I don't want to have to go to the store. I don't want to have to make food. Can someone else do all this for me? I mean, that would be great. And I mean, some of those things you can find someone to do for you, I bet, or a way or a solution. But we have to be here. We have to be. When we signed up to be here, we were born to be here. You chose to be here now. You picked that, right? That's the sacred sequence of incarnation 101, that you chose the time, the place, who you would be born to, because you knew they would give you the name you needed in order to come in with the sacred code of your soul, that is for you to unlock and remember who you are, but that you would go through the circumstances and everything you needed in your life in order to become who you are right now at this moment in time, right? Like, I mean, it's mind blowing. And, I'm 42 years old. I chose to be born the day, the year that I was, so I would be this age right now and have had the cumulative life experiences. And of course, there's always free will and choice, but we set ourselves up in a way of, like, what life lessons that you are going to go through, or soul growth, what you're going to attract and bring in based on your whole cosmology, your ascended numerology of that moment. And it's now, like, it's been now, and it still is now, and we're being really called to be the master that I am, to really anchor my mastery presence in form. So yeah, a lot of times on this path of spiritual awakening, beings that are evolving and awakening, there is a phase that is very normal to go through, and it is to be always wanting to be connected up here in the higher realms And almost like it's almost, like a disattachment, like just trying to get away from dealing with the world of form because it's hard, right? Face it, it's hard being here. When you're awakening and you're a sensitive being, and if you're very empathic, you feel everything, right? It's like the pain and the suffering of the world. And it's harder to function usually in the regular matrix that's here that asks you to conform. It's like all the beings that knew that they didn't fit that box trying to find their way over mucking around over all these last decades and centuries and thousands of years. And as we are learning and evolving, there's that phase that says, well, you start to like receive information from up here. If you start meditating, you start connecting. It's so incredible. And it's like we want to just be there. And now we are really being asked to, like, you can't help the planet and everything you feel and see and know that's going on here by being up out there. That's not really the point why we came to do this. It's so that we can go there and integrate it into here. And I feel like it's this, this pulling up, like the yoga of self-ascension, the heart is the root center of the ascended state of being. The heart is the root chakra. And please tune in with us every day this week. Be with me at 6 p.m. tonight with another special guest airing at Facebook official ShriAndKira.com. We are going to be going into the solar plexus chakra and talking about that today, and ways that we can lift, shift, and heal into the ascended perspective of that chakra. So the heart, wow, root center. So those lower three chakras, really, they're the foundation of the body, and the heart becomes the foundation of our divine galactic blueprint. You see it behind me. So it is very much a yes, lift, 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 and then get the multidimensional presence, the guidance, the support, and bring it and command the light into your form, into what you create in the world. That's what we're training to do. That's what the path of the yoga self ascension does for me, is absolutely supports me to be the creator of this world experience. And just imagine if enough of us have the sincerity, the love, the presence, right? The focused attention on creating from that, what is possible? It's like very easy to get to a place of feeling depressed about the state of the world, or anxious about the state of the world, or just disconnect also and just say, it doesn't matter. I'm in my bubble. Does matter. It does matter. Any of those cases, it's like you're disconnected. And it's like, for me, when I see that aspect of our world, it motivates me to do what I'm doing more. And if we see that, oh my gosh, people are capable of such terrible things. People have been co-creating for a long time on our planet the same energy of chaos and fear and anger and hate. That's become so normal, and it's so stuffed full of that energy. It's very rich, and people create a lot from that place, and look at how powerfully they create. Now, just imagine how powerfully, though, we create when we are tapped into our actual source of real love. It's worth expanding, it's worth practicing to feel the unconditional love of your divinity, of your divine presence. And they're all words until you like experience and live it. But that's why we have practices and tools and things that are left for us as markers, because literally your guides, our angels, the beings, whatever, however you want to look at that, they know. Everyone knows in the whole galactic federation and beyond how hard it is to come to a planet like this, because we forget who we are. We have to remember who we are. Um, and after that, we have to keep being responsible and saying yes for who we are. It's a big task. So we have markers, we have beautiful tools and crystals and rudraksha and smells and plants and all kinds of things that are here to help us. And we have a lot of teachers and way showers that have been here to teach us. So, once we're awake enough and we start experimenting, it's like get into a path that resonates for you and be with it. I mean, I'm clearly advocating the yoga of self-ascension as such path because it's the one that I love and do. But I mean, pick a path for you and stick with a path and allow yourself to fully explore and expand, because you will have the experiences where it goes from a concept to one that you're living and embodying. And it happens in layers. Sometimes we go through a lot, like some of you have awoken and you're like, yes, I'm awake, I get all of this, but we hit like a plateau or a place that says, oh my gosh, now what? It's not the exhilaration or the high that the ego gets from all that connection up here. It's the moment where we actually go, oh my gosh, I'm responsible. The connection is not feeding my ego and its excitement, and that's the moment where we, though, mature and we can start to really powerfully co create. So, as humans, yes, we've powerfully co created a cycle that's been going on a long time of victim consciousness, but enough committed beings at whatever their path, but be on your focused path, as long as it's sincerity, love, and presence is your guiding light for whatever you follow. It's like, imagine enough of us actually standing together, enough of us actually doing it. And it doesn't take as many of us doing it, and this is like all the training that you have been getting till now is to get you ready for now. That's what we're doing now. It's like you've been in the I don't like using the war metaphors, but they are very accurate because we are in a war for consciousness right now. There's a war for your consciousness. There's a war for the consciousness of the planet. There is an attack happening on consciousness. There's a lot of energy invested in you not waking up and staying there, and the masses being that way. That's just a discernment, not even a judgment. That's an observation, and it's happening, right? So the way to do anything about that is to not play in the game board and to focus so completely, eyes on the divine. There is a divine purpose really in everything, and everybody's path is exactly what it needs to be, and bringing it back to our own and linking up with the other beings that are doing this too. And watch, it just takes enough of us to, and it's already happening. It's already happening, but we have to keep the course. And this month is saying, please be your mastery presence. Please, it's inviting you to fly free for the first time, maybe that you've ever felt that. And it can be scary too, but it's here and we are so supported. The miracles show up so quickly, So it's that moment of choice. August is a choice. We've mastered old patterns very well. Is it time to awaken to a new pattern, right? And, for me personally, I had a huge, huge epiphany on Sunday evening. I mean, I really went through a moment last week and last weekend. I went through moments. I mean, we're going through moments all the time, but there was like a few moments on the weekend where I was like, wow, the pressure that is coming in from all realms, even the good, divine pressure, I call it, right? But there was so many things happening and so many triggers. And my ego was definitely really working hard to have its say, right? And I was processing, I was going through like an illnessing, right? It was wild. It was wild. So I had this huge as though breakthrough, and it really is amazing when those happen, that it was like all about this self-abandonment. And it's like that's a term I'm familiar with, and something I definitely like work on healing in my life and worked on for quite a long time. But it struck me in a way like I hadn't really given thought to it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, there's a situation that I personally had invested energy in that inside I like knew was like not congruent for myself. And that situation did not feel right. But I also was just kind of like being occupied with a lot of other things and being like, oh, well, it'll take care of itself or whatever. But it's clearly creating some kind of energy drain, right? It's one of those energy leaks. And what came all of a sudden just so clear, it was over a series of events that happened, and things was just like, oh my God, like you are literally self abandoning. And then I could see it in a whole lot of other arenas, believe me, like when the witnesser came forward and saw it. And I'm sharing this because maybe that's something you might be doing as well, or you have something else in you that you're becoming aware of. Because if we're really asking to be choosing right now, and we're choosing trust or we're choosing fear, or we're choosing ourself or we're choosing self-abandonment, right? So I came to that moment of like, oh my God, like there were subtle ways that my ego had really worked hard. Like I knew, like, yes, you know, the observer in me like knew something was going on for sure. But it was like her ego's so good at just being like, ah, okay, it's okay, and justifying and bargaining and all of that stuff. And it's laughable, right? But it's like those are the moments we're at right now. So what's your scenario? What's going on for you that it's like, in your soul you need to make a different choice about. And it is like one of those things where it's just kinda uncomfortable. It's like you're hearing a dripping faucet at night and, it's kinda keeping you awake, right? It gets more obnoxious over time, more fast and more rapid, and eventually you have to, like, fix it because it's just so annoying, or do something about it, or turn the water off, whatever. It's ideal to fix it so you can still have water, right, and not turn it off, if that's a metaphor. Um Yeah, we're all facing that though right now. We're all facing those moments within ourselves that says, the ego is going to do everything it can for you to not come home to you in that sacred union. So where are you maybe self-abandoning? Or are you not showing up for yourself? And just be honest. And if judgment comes up around it when you're aware, look at that piece as well, right? Because it will bring up layers sometimes, but being really honest, being transparent, like nakedly honest with ourselves, not holding back, like really look at, like, where am I not showing up for myself? Because if we don't do it now, we don't get to move into September in our empowered mastery presence. We get to move into September with uh, the awareness of the choice we made. And that's going to be either like, hey, I'm like showing up to party as the master, or hey, I'm very aware I made a choice and this is where I'm at right now, and that's beautiful. You'll have the opportunity to become aware of the choice and look at it again and get the experience of it. The awareness experience choice cycle that keeps going and going. You never miss the boat, but it would be amazing to show up in September in our full glory, masterful presence is what I'm holding for myself and all of you, because it will be a whole lot more fun for all of us. And it's supposed to be fun. It gets to be fun. Like being here is supposed to be fun. When do we all get so serious? I mean, yes, it's serious business. We're trying to help the planet and humanity to keep going. That's for real. That's very serious, like, right? And not from like a spiritual arrogance, like I know how to do that, but that I do know is that it's going to come from a higher level of consciousness, how we heal this planet. So I'm doing everything I can to hold that higher level of consciousness and support other beings to do the same. So big moment. All right, I'm popping in the chat to say hello to you. Hey, Batia. Hello, hello. Hey, Angel. Nice to see you. Hey, Pauline. Beautiful. Purple. Welcome, welcome. I'm seeing Mona. I think Mona has a question too. Yeah. Oh, I have to respond to this one too, Batya, that came in with this. There was a period where I just wanted to jump out and take a break, but I could not deny myself my authentic self. That I could talk about for like a long time because that's really important. Mona had said giving away power to fix things under pressure rather than trusting the mastery presence and giving it to God. I just love these chats. So you guys are giving me great things here that I love thinking about and talking about. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Mona and then Batya, and I think you have something else. Mona too here. She says, I would like more clarity about when to act and when to trust that it will resolve as its perfect time. Oh, this is good stuff. Angel, really facing abundant self worth issues at the moment, working through it right now. Yes. And the fun thing calling you right now. Yes. Okay. Okay. I love you guys because this is all good stuff. So, giving away power to fix things under pressure. Oh my gosh, Mona, I totally understand this one and get this one. It's just like the pressure of like everything coming down, and instead of making empowered choices in it, just giving away the power because it might be just easier to do, just easier to say, "Pff," like I'm going to give my power over to this because it will just make things easier in the moment. And then we self abandon and we hurt ourselves doing that rather than trusting the mastery presence and giving it to God. Like you said, it's like the solution will come to us through that and like through that trust and just saying, okay, show me, I am here, I am ready, I'm open, guide me. The mantra of self ascension all the way. I'm here, I am ready, I'm open, guide me. I'm here, I am ready, I'm open, guide me. And letting that be the like, oh my gosh, the how will I, you know fix this, what's the solution, and to really, yes, lean into, I'm receiving the guidance of what I need to do in this decision, and connecting to God, like giving it to, surrendering to the self, to the highest self, and not to a like idea that God's going to just take it and fix it, right? But that we like trust ourself and our connection to our divinity so much that the answers will be provided through us and shown to us, and we'll be open to receiving and seeing them when they are shown to us. Um, the part about jumping out and wanting to take a break, I like love talking about this because I've done that. I've like actually done, I mean, we've all done it, right? But I've done that like to such an extreme before. Um, even after, I mean, there's been so many times where I had some really big awakenings in my life. Um, Even pre Shri and Kira, and then I kind of like would go back in, but I wasn't as like aware, that I was like kind of going back in, trying to like take a break. I was just kind of like, oh, like I would just get kind of pulled back into a current of um, living outside of my authenticity because I had old habits or wounds or something that was like, oh, let me go play that out again. I wasn't quite as conscious, even though like I had a lot that I woke up through. And even after being with Shri and Kira for a long time, I went through an experience where I got tired. Like I literally was fighting. I mean, you guys, to get where I am sitting now that I'm like here on camera with you, that I get on camera with Shri and Kira, that I do a lot of the things that I do is so against the disempowered being I was for so long and learned to be. And I never, ever, ever like, I had such low self-worth at points in my life. I checked out at points and gave all my power to other beings very, very much. But I felt like I was on like easy street. I thought I'd really done the work by the last time I did this, where I did a checkout. And I was like, I got this. I've started my business. It's all going great. I am awesome. So much of my ego was still operating without me even knowing. We're super naive to it. It's okay. And we all go through it. But yeah, I like was like, it was like so stretchy for me. That was my point about like my whole life of disempowerment. Like to open my business and put my name out there, like I was like hyperventilating and having panic attacks like regularly. And I went into the office space of like a really amazing healer that had it before me, that really mentored and taught me and got me to where I was and introduced me to Shri and Kira and all of that. And I was like, you are the biggest fraud and the biggest phony. And at the time I was in my 30s. I'm like, who wants to listen to you? It was like all those things. And it was exhausting because I was always pushing myself so much, and it felt like everything I was doing on the spiritual path was like I was growing so much, and I thought I was doing good, like I said, in so many ways, but I also was just like, oh, I'm just like tired, like I want a break from this work that I'm doing on myself all the time. And I mean, it gets easier as we go too. It's not like work so much, but it like there's those phases where you're just like, oh my god, like how much wounds could I have to look through, and how many places do I have to clean up in my life, and it's tiring. I'm going to take a break. So I did, and it was a great experience, but very quickly, it was like my ego talked me into all of it. It was like, "Hey, like, go on this fun ride in this relationship over here, and let's have your family of origin blow up on you, and everything else under the sun." But I wasn't using my tools. I was like not completely gone. I could still like hold presence and do sessions, but I had much less of them and I had much less time or energy. And it turned into the break that I thought I was going to have was like the biggest tumbler ever. And I came out shinier and polished, and it's great. However, that was my path and my journey, but we don't have to like do it as extreme as I did. I mean, I like really went I also feel like part of my personality self said, "Hey, this is your last hurrah because you know what's coming." So maybe that was part of it. But it's like it's not really a break. That's our ego like bargaining with us. So that was my kind of long story to your comment, Batia. But I mean, I share it because maybe it resonates for someone out there that's done that or felt that. It's okay and it happens, but I'm here to tell you it's not a break. It's it's not a break, and your authentic self, like Batya said, you won't be able to deny it in the end, and you will come back to it. You will. You won't. You're never gone. You'll just re-remember. You'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And so even if it is work to stay steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust, if it is work to be living the path of self-ascension, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. And it does feel less tiring though as the ego relaxes, that surrender piece, right? As we come into the sacred union and remember the truth of our being and more greatly center into our true essence, the ego calms down, and it's not difficult, or you're not like pushing through that piece. It relaxes and you're like, okay, I'm here, and you're able to flow through the challenges and things much more easily. So take heart if you're like in that place of going, oh my gosh, this feels like an awful lot, and be wary too and notice patterns. Like sometimes we get stuck in a pattern of just like healing something and processing something. And we don't need to do that either. We can move through it fast. We don't have to just like sit there and process and relive something. We can move through it really fast. The comment about more clarity about when to act and when to trust. I would like more clarity about when to act and when to trust that it will resolve at its perfect time. I love this comment, Mona. So I'm going to invite a hand to heart and a breath for all of us. Trust is an action, first and foremost. Trust is an action that says, I am releasing my doubt and I am opening to divine guidance. So that's trust in action versus trust that just kind of is more like a spiritual bypass. Like I trust the timing will be perfect when it is. That's like a passive bypassy way to trust. So I think there's the discernment of, am I in the trust? That's the action. So the trust in action is like being very dedicated to surrendering again and again the mind or the ego or the interference, and leaning into your divine essence and your presence and being like, I trust myself. I trust myself with a capital S, and take action from there. And that's where the action comes. And the action might be to take a breath and a pause and trust more. The action might be come to you to like make a step and move physically towards something, but to just be in trust, like in that way. It's a spiritual bypass way that just says, well, I just trust all is well, everything happens for a reason. That's lying to ourselves, and that's okay as well. But we do that, but it's not that's not being in the action of trust. So I hope that helped respond to what you were asking. um, the fun angel, yes, the fun calling. I agree. It's like, have fun here. We have a body. We're here on this planet. Joy. That is the foundation of the self-ascended chakra system. I mean, that the foundation of our being, right, of our body. Peace, love, joy. Joy, solar plexus. Today is solar plexus day. Make sure you get to Facebook Live at official Shri and Kira Facebook today at 6 p.m. We are talking solar plexus and joy. So joy, yeah, what brings you real joy? What brings you joy? And do it, because whatever we're doing here, what is the point if we're not in that connected joy? If we're just going to put our heads down and take our spirituality and our evolution so seriously. Yes, being committed is being serious about your commitment, but that doesn't mean not have fun and not have joy. And if it feels really hard to have joy, because been here, I've been here, I know that place so well. There is the peace that has to come first, then the love, then the joy. So if you're not feeling the joy, is there some place where you are not standing fully in your love? Are you self-abandoning? I mean, literally the moment that I like quit self-abandoning somewhere that I didn't even see, it was down so deep, the joy rushed in. I was cleaning my room and dancing to music that like an hour after the fact. It was like instantaneous. I was like, what am I doing? I'm like doing this at like 10 o'clock at night, right? And everything since then, like, so love. Is there a place where you're holding back on love of yourself? The unconditional love is a piece of the yoga of self-ascension, right? Are you holding back somewhere? Or are you just feeling really not settled? You're not at peace. You can't get to the joy for sure if you're not in the foundation of peace. And that's our safety. First chakra, ascended chakra, safety comes into a beingness, being comfortable in your beingness when it ascends into its ascended frequency. Beingness. So settle into your beingness. First step towards getting towards joy is to really be comfortable with being you, with loving your body of form for everything it does for you, being in tune with our planet, and forgiveness. Like the forgiveness practice, we brought that up yesterday at Mastery Presence Monday. Those of you that were there know. And if you weren't at Mastery Presence Monday, register. You can still grab the recording for like $1. We had such in-depth teaching yesterday evening. It really was incredible. So tap in and go grab that shrinkira.com, register, and you can grab the recording if you're not in it already. And if you were in it and you didn't get the recording, it's coming out this afternoon. So, it's forgiveness. If we are holding on to any unforgiveness, we can't really rise into our joy either. It's going to keep holding us down. So that's another thing. Yes, Pauline, I agree. Pauline, I used to taking a break thinking it was self-care, but that was my ego placating me to be lazy. So I start looking again to get back on track start again took a while to get back on track. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, taking a break and, like, it's okay to be, like, Netflix and chill for a minute, but, like, really, is it our ego talking to us and trying to get us to take a break? And it's not really a break. Wow, I'm grateful my story helped you right now. Good. I am an open book. I really think that our life lessons are the best way to learn and share with each other and grow together. Yeah, when it's hard to use our many tools sometimes, it's like when we need them most, it will be sometimes feel the hardest to use them. And when we're in those moments, like in the egos just like grabbing us, it's just like, what's the one tool that I can use? The mantra of self ascension is always such, even if you're just saying it in your head to yourself, or if it's just like, can I bring my hand to my heart and breathe and do an ave sa breath? It's just one thing sometimes is all we need to move through and just be with it and be with it and be with it in the moment. I love that too, Angel. Inspiration. It's so fun to connect with you all. Thank you for the incredible chats and conversations happening. And I see many of you over Facebook and many of you here at YouTube, and those of you grabbing the recording after the fact. Um, it really is always the best part of this time is that I love being live and being able to connect with you or grabbing you in the replay. I feel like I'm connecting to all the beings that won't be here in real time, but will connect later. Who knows? Maybe you're watching this 10 years from now and the exact thing you needed to hear is in this. Trust yourself. The messages are everywhere. It's like pick up a book, like Sacred Union and pick a page and see what the message is. Go to shrinkhere.com and hover over the ensoulments and grab an ensoulment and see which one is speaking to you, right? Like, really let yourself be guided. And sometimes there's a moment where you just have to surrender everything over. It happens many times. You just surrender over everything and really say, you know what? My ego is not who I am. I'm surrendering it again. I'm surrendering everything over to the divine that is within me and creates this world through me. And have mercy on yourself for doing things we've never done before. That's why sticking with a path like the Yoga of Self-Ascension, highly recommend, really, really supports you. You can see where you're at. You have a way to move and navigate and just stay with it. The steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. And the trust piece that has to come after you have the steadfast commitment and focused awareness, really just being aware. Where am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Watching, observing. We are meant to grow through this moment. We've been in a moment for a while as humanity, and we are in the moment of growing through it. And the Global Minga Heartbeat of Peace project that is happening for 30 days really matters. Every day, be it Facebook Live at Official Shreen Kira. I have a special guest there every day. We're connecting every day. Get in the Facebook group and share with one another in that group. And, really join in. It's free, it's easy, and it will keep you connected because we are in 30 days of anchoring a portal of peace that we really can do this for our planet. It just takes enough of us to be in this conscious creative effort, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't ever have to waver. You don't ever have to have an ego moment. None of that. That's a bunch of bullshit if it's keeping you from actually participating. Drop the stories and just go, where am I best contributing? How can I best serve? How do I best serve? and let that answer come from the joyful sense of service, like of being part of this movement. I deserve because I was born. You deserve to be here. You would not be here right now if that wasn't the case. And the world needs you. So it's really is the time to let the soul lead the way. Let the soul be the guiding post. It's worth every moment of it. And if you're going through moments that are tough and sticky and challenging, they are not forever. That's the ego's illusion too. And they can dissipate and you can lift in a moment. And you've done it before. You know you've had moments and times. Remember the times where you've had that connection and lift again because it's sticky out there. Clean your aura, do your container practice, track with us these 30 days. Be with me again next Tuesday. Be with us on Sunday at Shri and Kira Live. You know, be at the Pyramid of Peace consecration on September 22nd. It's a huge moment. So much is happening, and I love you all so much. Have an incredible blessed day and journey, and I look forward to the next time we are together.